Please recite Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Please release your palms. Today, we are going to share an article titled, Why Do We Recite Namo Amituofo? And also another article about the interdependence of the reciting Namo Amituofo's name and our life. Okay, so let's first start with the why do we recite Namo Amituofo? When it comes to Amituofo or Amitabha Buddha, some people may feel that he is very distant from us, while others may consider him unreachable. Where is he? How can we connect with him? What does he look like? What is his voice like? All of these aspects seem unfamiliar to us. After all, Amituofo resides in the realm of the Buddhas, while we exist in the realm of ordinary people or ordinary beings. With such a disconnect between the two realms, how can we possibly reach his Pure Land? Amituofo reaches out to us through his name. Typically, people recite the Buddha's name with the thoughts, I am praying to Amituofo for salvation. And they call out to him saying, Namo Amituofo, please come and save me. Please ensure that I can be reborn in your Pure Land. We tend to believe that we are the ones who are calling upon Amituofo. However, according to the teachings of Master Jingtung, it is Amituofo who is calling upon us through his revered name. Amituofo explicitly urges us in his vows, if you aspire to be reborn in my land, you will definitely attain rebirth in my land of ultimate bliss. If these words were merely empty promises, rebirth would be impossible. Here the Buddha's calling becomes vivid and alive, and the name Namo Amituofo resonates deep within us. But where does this name come from? Some claim to have heard it from recordings, while others attribute it to the teachings of their masters. However, these observations only scratch the surface and fail to identify the true source. This name originates from Amituofo's profound compassion. Think of it like watching a television program. We see and hear people on the screen and assume that the broadcast originates from the television set itself. However, in truth, it is transmitted from a distant television station. Similarly, when we recite Namo Amituofo, we receive the essence of Amituofo's call, which has its own source. If that source were within our transient hearts or worldly realm, it would fail. Since our hearts are impermanent, how then could we find a path to liberation? When we recite the name of Amituofo, we are on the receiving end of the benefits embodied in that name, the source of which lies in the distant land of ultimate bliss. Although the abode of Amituofo may seem distant, trillions of Buddha lands away, the Visualization Sutra assures us that Amitofo is not far away. With just a few syllables of his name, which emanate from his compassionate heart, Amitofo establishes a profound connection with sentient beings. Even before attaining Buddhahood, as Bhikkhu Dhammakara, he sent out a universal call to all sentient beings in every direction, proclaiming, "I will guide you to my Pure Land." How will I accomplish this? Through cultivating immeasurable merit and virtue over countless lifetimes, infusing them into my name. By relying on my name, all sentient beings burdened by sin shall be reborn in the land of ultimate bliss. How should you rely on my name? Simply recite Namo Amituofo. It is an effortless practice, and through it, you shall enter my Pure Land. Thanks to Amitofo's heartfelt call, we now have the opportunity to recite Namo Amituofo. The name we recite carries within its sacred syllables great significance. Even for a beggar, clad in tattered garments and bearing the marks of destitution, uttering a single Namo Amituofo would be an extraordinary occurrence. Let us reflect upon our own journey in Dharma practice and ask ourselves, did we actively seek out Namo Amituofo, or were we graciously summoned by the Buddha? Excuse me. We may think it was my neighbors, relatives, or Buddhist friends who urged me to learn the Buddha Dharma and recite Amitabha's name. In reality, they are not the true motivation. They are merely external conducive factors. The fundamental power comes from Amitabha Buddha's vows. In the Sutra of Infinite Life, there is a gatha that goes like this. When I attain Buddhahood, my name shall be heard throughout the 10 directions. Should there be any place where it is not heard, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. Therefore, when we hear the name of Amitofo today, it is not due to our keen hearing, but because the Buddha actively brings it to us from a distant place. In truth, the wisdom of the Buddha knows no bounds and manifests itself in myriad unfathomable ways. This includes the utilization of reciting machines, which can be described as the manifestation by Amitofo to spread the sound of Dharma. One may ask, what is so remarkable about this plastic device? Indeed, the plastic device itself may not hold much significance, but the name it recites, Namo Amituofo, is truly extraordinary. The Buddha wishes the sound of Dharma to be disseminated, and the sound of Dharma is the salvational sound of the name of Amituofo. It spreads widely in various ways. In the form of a reciting machine, enabling us to hear it, or of a written note posted prominently for us to see, or it be recited by fellow practitioners allowing us to listen, or even as a song sung by Jigong in the TV series based on the biography of monk Jigong. In that series, there is a catchy number even young children can sing. The lyrics goes like this. Shoes are worn, hats are torn, his robe is tattered and worn. Namo Amituofo, Namo Amituofo. And it repeats itself throughout. When I first watched this show, I immediately caught up with this catchy tune. So you can see we can spread the sound of Dharma in many, many ways, even within a song. Through inconceivable causes and circumstances, the name of Amitofo reaches far and wide, enabling everyone to come into contact with it and gain an understanding. Our encounter with the name is passive, as it is not something that we can actively seek out. Amitofo actively reaches out to save us. And this initiative dates back to countless eons ago, when he was Dhammakara Bodhisattva. He resolutely made vows on our behalf, full aware of the critical nature of our situation, without wasting time consulting us. We simply enjoy the benefits without any involvement in his 48 vows. It is Amitofo's great vow that encompasses all sentient beings in his compassionate embrace. He alone shoulders the responsibility of saving us all. Therefore, when we recite Namo Amituofo, we should remember that Amitofo keeps us in mind and genuinely desires our salvation. This brings us a profound closeness to the Buddha, a deep sense of security. Now, this is the end of this article. I'd like to share with you another one, which is really important. The title of that is Amitabha's or Amitabha's Perfect Enlightenment and Sentient Beings' Rebirth are Interdependence. Okay, so let's take a look at this article. The primal vow states, if when I achieve Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 directions who earnestly believe and rejoice, wish to be reborn in my land and recite my name, I believe I lost a voice. Okay, I'll just repeat this one. Wish to be reborn in my land and recite my name, should fail to be born there, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. In other words, I will attain Okay, I'm sorry, I think my internet was having some problems, so I'll repeat the last statement. In other words, I will attain perfect enlightenment only when I have accumulated the merit necessary for the rebirth of all sentient beings. Dharmakara Bhikkhu directly links his attainment of perfect enlightenment to our rebirth. His achievement of perfect enlightenment was solely for the rebirth of sentient beings from the 10 directions. In the Pure Land path, this connection is termed sentient beings' rebirth, and Amitabha Buddha's perfect enlightenment are inextricably bound. These two are interdependent. I, Dhammakara Bhikkhu, have attained perfect enlightenment, and that means sentient beings from the 10 directions are assured of rebirth because the two are one and the same. Should even one single sentient being fail to achieve rebirth, then Dhammakara Bhikkhu absolutely cannot attain perfect enlightenment. He must first accumulate the merits necessary for the rebirth in the Pure Land of all sentient beings. In fact, his attainment of perfect enlightenment is dependent upon such merits, without which his enlightenment is impossible. Has Dhammakara Bhikkhu attained Buddhahood? According to the Amitabha Sutra and the Infinite Life Sutra, he became a Buddha 10 kalpas ago. The fact that Dhammakara Bhikkhu became a Buddha has great implications. It is much more than just his attaining perfect enlightenment. It also denotes that we sentient beings are assured of rebirth in his Pure Land. If our rebirth is not guaranteed, he could not have realized Buddhahood. Do not think that Dhammakara Bhikkhu's attainment of Buddhahood has got nothing to do with us, and that we remain ordinary beings transmigrating in samsara. If you perceive it this way, Amitabha's becoming a Buddha would be all in vain. The name Namo Amitabha Buddha, or Namo Amituofo in Chinese, in our rebirth and our rebirth are two sides of the same coin. One side represents the name Amitabha acquired when he attained perfect enlightenment. The other side, which is not as commonly recognized, represents our rebirth. If we only acknowledge the first side of the coin, but not the other, then it is not truly Namo Amituofo. We all know that Dhammakara Bhikkhu was called Amitabha Buddha when he attained perfect enlightenment. Lesser known is the fact that this name also means our rebirth. His name is the evidence of our rebirth. We seek rebirth exclusively through reciting Amitabha's name, as there is no other way to Amitabha's Pure Land. That is why Dhammakara Bhikkhu said, "Should you fail to be born in my land, may I not attain perfect enlightenment." His perfect enlightenment depends on our rebirth. Amitabha bestowed on us the merits he accumulated for our rebirth when he gave us his name. If we try to see rebirth, I beg your pardon, if we try to seek rebirth by cultivating all sorts of practices on our own, it is to no avail. It would be like the metaphor given in the Suragama Sutra, trying to make cooked rice by steaming sand. Despite your great effort in cooking, all you get in the sand, all you get in the end is a heap of sand, not cooked rice. In seeking rebirth, Amitabha is the only way.
Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo.
You can hear me now. Can you hear me? In seeking rebirth, Amitabha recitation is the only way. Without it, our various diligent spiritual practices amount to mere sand rather than cooked rice. All assorted practices lack the genuine merits inherent in the Buddha's name, leaving rebirth impossible. Therefore, we must all recite Namo Amituofo, as our rebirth hinges on it. We must all understand that Dhammakara Bhikkhu's attainment of Buddhahood is synonymous with the assurance of our rebirth, and nothing else. Seeing the name Namo Amituofo should be recognized as a tangible proof of our rebirth, a vivid expression of the merit securing that rebirth. Grasping this concept is what is meant by having heard his name, as stated in the Infinite Life Sutra. In this way, you truly hear and understand the profound meaning of Amitabha Buddha's name. This is the end of the articles that I'd like to share with you. I seek apology for the interference of the internet issue. Would you please join palms with me and recite Namo Amituofo 3 times? Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. Namo Amituofo. You realize that when we recite Nama Amituofo's name, the ultimate goal is for rebirth in the land of bliss. That's the first and foremost, okay? That has always to be the first one that we think about when we are reciting Amitabha's name, the rebirth to his Pure Land. But reciting his name also comes with a lot of benefits that we don't have to ask for. For example, health and harmonious relationships at work or with family, improvement in work conditions, etc. And recovering from illnesses is also included in that. Now, many people would say, I recite Amitabha's name exclusively, but how come I'm still sick? And I said, you don't find in any sutra that says that if you recite Amitabha's name, you will not get sick. It's not written in the Pure Land 3 sutras, right? It does say that when you recite Amitabha's name, if you are going to encounter severe um, uh, conditions like disasters or illnesses or calamities, etc., the severity may come down to a bit less than it should be. Or if your karma is that you suffer a little, then recitation of the name could actually bring it down to like zero, then you would not experience that illness or that calamity. Or you may be slightly injured or still sick, but not to the extent that you would be had you not been reciting Amitabha's name. I hope that answers your question. I know that it's a very common question, and I always laugh when I answer Lotus Friends' questions about this. And I always use myself as an example. I am a monastic, and I'm also ill. I have all kinds of illnesses, right? And people say, "Well, how come monastic also get ill or get sick?" I said, because we are ordinary sentient beings. So we all have our karma. Okay. So, but reciting Amitabha's name is going to help us. And if we are supposed to be severely ill, we may have a touch of a flu or something, or the illness may not be as severe as it would have been had we not been reciting Amitabha's name exclusively. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Master Jingtung. And we have another question. This is more a theoretical question about rebirth. The question is like this. In terms of rebirth in the higher grade, in the larger Amitabha Sutra, it says one must be a monk or a nun. But in the Visualization Sutra, it makes no mention of being ordained in order to obtain rebirth in the highest grade. Which one is correct, Master Jingtung?
We have to understand that by reciting Amitabha's name, we are born into the land of bliss, and that is a rewards ground. And so there are no levels there. So once we're born there, we're born in Amitabha's lotus. Okay, so now, but how come it in different sutras, it will tell you the 9 levels, right? So you remember, sutras aimed at specific audiences. Okay, in those days, in Buddha's days, there are many enlightened people, his disciples included. Like if you go and tell somebody, despite your hard work in cultivating merits and so on, you don't need to do that. All you have to do is to recite Amitabha's name. Can you imagine the impact it might have on these very hard-working disciples who work so hard to cultivate the merits to be reborn in the land of bliss, right? So when the Buddha talked to different people, he looked at the capability of those people and try and reach them and from where, like, meet them where they are. Okay, so in that sense, yeah, you have to be a monk if you want to be in that highest level. Not just being a monk, but you also have to have the the Bodhisattva vows and so on. Something which ordinary sentient beings are not able to do, including monastics, right? So, and therefore, in the Visualization Sutra, Shakyamuni Buddha told us that in the 18th vow, it never said anything about the higher grade or the 9 levels, right? And in the Amitabha Sutra, the only thing mentioned is the recitation of the name. And you will be reborn in the land of bliss. The land of bliss is a rewards ground. So once you're born there, you're already in the 10th stage of the Bodhisattva, right? So, or one lifetime away from becoming a Buddha. So that so-called 9 grades of rebirth really doesn't exist there. Okay, so you have to remember at different times, different master will interpret the sutras in different ways. And because Master Shandao's teaching was lost for almost 1,000 years, or actually I think it's over 1,000 years, and until it's brought back to China, most of those masters during this time when Master Shandao's works were lost, interpreted the sutras according to their own lineage. So and most of the path of importance talk about cultivation of merits, right? And of course, in that realm, the more merits you cultivate and accumulate, the better it will be. Okay, thus those different levels and different grades. But according to Master Shandao, when we are reborn in the land of bliss, we're directly reborn in Amitabha's lotus. No grades there. Okay, so Master Huijing also mentioned that in one of his teachings. So rest assured, when we get to the land of bliss, we are not going to be reborn in one of those different grades. Okay, so that's very important to remember. Okay.
So is there any...
I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Master Jingtung. Is there any follow-up question on the answers, or you have a new question that you want to bring up, or any sharing or observation relating to this question or discussion? Oh, no more? So we can conclude this Q&A session. Thank you, Master Jingtung, and every Lotus friend attend this meeting. Namo Amituofo.
Namo Amituofo. Thank you all for coming to the Nianfo practice, and thank you, Pochi, for hosting the Q&A session. Namo Amituofo.
Namo Amituofo.